again. I referred earlier to the Giving to Heritage project, which I want to talk a little bit more about now, and referring back to one or two things that people have said before, that crowdfunding is just one of a whole suite of fundraising techniques that can be employed. Now, Giving to Heritage is a Heritage Lottery Fund sponsored programme. We're one of 9 what they call catalyst programmes. I'll talk a little bit about the others later on. It's a programme of 2 years, training, 8,500 training opportunities of various types, done in partnership with the Institute of Fundraising. So we actually did a survey before we started, which was 18 months ago, seeing what the fundraising skills were out there and what is required. And this is the main conclusion, that there's a completely very competitive market. We can't always rely on the government or the Heritage Lottery Fund, trusts and foundations, applications. The success rate is getting lower and lower as more and more applications come in, so we need to look to other sources of private funds. So the Catalyst programme, HLF generously donated £3 million to this whole initiative, and the Heritage Alliance got just short of £500,000, and there's other similar programmes. We cover England, similar programmes in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, and then there's regional ones, Cornwall, Norfolk, etc. We've got the National Archives and the Prince's Regeneration Trust I mentioned before, the Middle Country example. So what is Giving to Heritage? It's a series of high quality bespoke training over 2 years with the Institute of Fundraising. Each of our 99 workshops is delivered by an Institute of Fundraising trainer. Now, not all of them have experience specifically in raising funds for heritage, so what we try and do as far as possible is get a volunteer expert from the heritage sector to bring this as relevant as possible and to introduce case studies, and that has been very well appreciated. We're also offering one-to-one consultancy and support sessions. People just phone up and book a slot, either face-to-face or over the telephone. We have them also at conferences. And we've got a series of a number of mentors and mentees working together in pairs on specific projects. We've got 30 webinars. Now, I mentioned the one earlier about Colchester Roman Circus. That was one that went out live about a month ago. And if you go onto our website, you can actually hear about it. The fundraiser involved is Howard Lake. That on 6 other webinars on various fundraising subjects are actually available to view on the website. We're also offering executive coaching at a high level for an individual or for an organisation. And we're looking at the moment about the legacy of the programme, which I'll come on to soon. So what I'll do for the break, if anybody's interested in taking one of these leaflets, which actually gives you full details of what's included in the programme, we've got a list here of 24 workshops which are currently bookable. Each of the workshops costs only £20 per head. It's a full day's training, so it's heavily subsidised by the HLF. And I'll point in a moment to the ones that are relevant to crowdfunding. So these are the kind of people that have come on the courses so far. As I say, it's aimed at the independent heritage sector. So it's really any staff, volunteer, committee member who's got a fundraising project in heritage. There's 1 or 2 organisations that are not involved in heritage have tried to get involved, and we're quite strict. There's been quite a few academic institutions who've come along, particularly with regard to archives, and that's fine. You don't need to be a member of the Institute of Fundraising or the Heritage Alliance. You don't need to have had any prior fundraising experience. But you just have to demonstrate that you can actually put this into practice and cascade the learning throughout your organisation. So just over a year into the programme, we've filled 800 training places, and that represents quite a large number, 402 different heritage projects. That's more than we were expecting, and we're delighted about that. And we're also pleased that the organisations that seem to be represented, 2/3 of them are very small, and that is for staff and volunteers of between 1 and 5 people, and organisations with a turnover of less than £250,000. And just some examples I picked out at random of the 402 heritage projects. Those are sort of ones: Jewish Heritage, Tatton Park, Bath, Great Grimsby, Ice Factory Trust. So there are 12 different workshop subjects. The two core ones, we encourage people to go on if they can, or the two top ones are developing a fundraising plan, which is basically fundraising strategy, and making the case for heritage fundraising. So I'm particularly keen on this one. I think it's very relevant to crowdsourcing and making sure that the heritage project you're working on can be communicated to a wider audience, and you can actually demonstrate why this is important, and why people should give up their money. Trusts and foundations are very popular, major donor fundraising, but also ones that are more relevant to crowdfunding and where crowdfunding is looked at in more detail, using digital social media, community fundraising, and this one here, understanding your donors and marketing your project.
This one.
Okay, so we've been doing some evaluation. This is what people think. Their knowledge of the subject has been transformed as a result of going through the programme. Just two little plugs. One is another document I'm leaving there is the fundraising directory, which is available on the website. 300 sources of funds that you can go to. It's free of charge resource. And the other thing is I've got a list on the table of the 24 workshops, two in particular on using digital social media that go into crowdfunding in depth. One is on the 2nd of October in London at Kelmscott House, home of the William Morris Society. And the other one is in Southampton at the Sea City Museum on the 1st of December. All the details are on the website, book on the website, £20 per head. That's that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.